Beautiful Light Warriors, welcome to this Sunday session at the Light Warrior Collective. Glad to see so many familiar faces and new faces from all over the globe. Every continent is at the moment represented. Great to see that, and enjoy your time here. My name is Wouter, I'm your tech host for today. If you have any difficulty on the technical side, send me a direct message and I'll sort you out as soon as possible. And for the introduction of today, I'll hand it over to our beautiful Vivian.
Our dear Incan had a last-minute emergency in Abu Dhabi, so unfortunately she won't be joining us. But what a blessing to be here with all of you this gorgeous Sunday. We have a wonderful guest, Tricia, that I'm going to allow Jovial to introduce. And then we'll kick it off. So thank you, Jovial. Would you like to introduce Tricia for the team? Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jovial Kerr, and I have seen a lot of familiar faces. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday. And I hope you enjoyed the full moon as well, because there was, like yesterday was really beautiful, if you guys can see the moon. And it is actually a mid-autumn festival in the lunar calendar. So just want to say that happy Mooncake Festival too. So today we are very grateful that we can invite Trish to be our special guest today, and I'll tell you a little bit about Trish. So Trish is a yoga instructor, and that's how we get to know each other. And we started our friendship, and I actually met her in person. So I met her like I think maybe 9 years ago. Like I was in the rec center, and then I was doing yoga, and I just met her and I thought that, oh, she's very inspiring. So I'm one of the students that like to chat with the instructor after the class. So that's how I started my connection with Trish. And we talk about our dreams. And she told me about one day she wanted to be teaching yoga at the beach. And there you go, now that she is living in her dream, that she actually moved to Dominican Republic to start her dream job. And that's why it's really inspiring story for us to get to know her more. So Trish, I'll give the floor to you and you can introduce yourself and let us know what you're going to discuss with us today. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. I guess I'm going to start. I have like a bunch of things but I'm not going to read it in verbatim, I promise. So before we begin, I'd like to take a few moments and just honor those who lost their lives on this tragic day. Lives will forever change. To the ones who survived, the ones who still healing from the traumatic events of 9/11. Thank you, everybody. Blessings, light, and love, and good morning from Kite Beach, Dominican Republic. I'm extremely grateful and so humbled to be asked by my dear friend, Joe, who that's the beauty of having this profession. You make lifelong friends along the way. To start off authentically, as you can tell, I'm a bit nervous. And even though this is my profession, I'm used to walking around, talking with my hands. So if you do see me doing a lot of hand gestures, it's just because I'm so used to it. And I don't have a pen, so I have a rubber band. Part of the anxiety that yoga continually, helps me with and just helps taper. Right. Well, so I guess I'm going to start by my own personal trauma, sharing that and the healing journey. how it's still scary, not because I'm afraid of being judged, nor am I ashamed of my past. Rather, it's just the ADHD in me, again, the anxiety. That I skipped to that, sorry. So the hand gestures and voice intonations, possibly shaky voice, possibly tears and laughs. So at the beginning of the year, as you said, I set a goal to travel and to experience, learn, grow, and teach in a different place, a different country. I do feel I'm an island girl at heart. I was born in the Philippines. I grew up there until I was 8, and then moved to the United States. There's something very captivating about the beach, the ocean, warm weather. It always felt like it was in my soul, and I knew that teaching abroad would take a lot of practice and a lot of research, a lot of patience. And again, there comes the saving and blessings of yoga. So setting my sights on traveling, I knew that I was going to teach yoga and fitness. And I had certain checklists. I wanted accommodation. I wanted salary. I wanted to stay here for a year and not just for 6 months since. And I also wanted to be able to bring my psychiatric service dog in training, Hero, who is a definite must for me. So in this process, I did not expect to be triggered. But I did. I'm a survivor of sexual trauma, rape, toxic relationship abuse, disordered eating, a recovering alcoholic, substance abuse, and I call myself a yogi. As my bio stated, the practice of yoga started so much more on a physical level. As a cardio junkie, calorie burning, crazed woman who needed to quote unquote stretch so that my body would be okay in all the rigorous, destructive behaviors I was doing. My first encounter with yoga was with Rodney Yee, and it was on VHS, the Power Yoga Total Body. So while it was still challenging, thinking that it was just going to be me sitting there, breathing, and stretching and thinking, how am I going to burn all these calories doing this? I didn't quite expect the hold it would have on me. Whether it was the scenery, it was the mountains, it was the way I was able to follow him. The whole practice, it felt familiar. Being on the mat felt familiar. And it was an indescribable feeling that I just needed to keep coming back, needed to keep finding more about what the magic of the mat and the yogi practice was all about. So throughout my 22 years, I've developed a passion for not just doing this for myself, but I knew that there was more to this. There was something bigger. This is something bigger than me, and I wanted to share it with others. And I decided that I was going to become a therapeutic yoga instructor for special needs. I was a therapist at the time and getting burnt out from it. We were just getting started with introducing the breathing techniques as a way, the method to help the kids calm down. And I loved it. This was a way for me to still tie in my love of teaching children with special needs and doing yoga. And throughout that growth, I started teaching typical children. And that was my first, and I don't think the triggers will ever stop. That was my first trigger to realizing that something happened to me and I couldn't I couldn't put my words to it, but I just knew that it was strong enough that I wanted to give up yoga. It was witnessing a little girl being truly afraid of seeing her father pick her out from daycare. I was teaching children's yoga at the time. She was 3. And she started behaving in ways that just brought back waves of memories. And it was the worst. It was just a combination of everything bad. It wasn't even anything that I could wash off my hands, that I could stop smelling. It was just bad. And I started having nightmares. The more I continued to teach her, the more I continued to see this behavior, the more unsettled I became. And that's how I started with EMDR therapy and eye movement desensitization reprocessing, which, as well as yoga, really helped me. What is that called? Like, it's like an onion or a banana, like peel off the layers of past traumatic events that I've sealed off, that I've never thought about, that I just never thought, imagined. Maybe I thought I dreamed it. So being able to process those things, I was able to connect back to yoga, and I was able to shift my focus on, I don't know how I was going to help this little girl, but I'm going to help every person that's ever encountered having their child taken away. So yoga has posed, I think, so much of saving me. I've gotten angry to it. It's like a form of friend, a form of paradise, a form of, there's always an answer when I do an asana. There's always some sort of something that I realize about myself, that I learn about myself, I may not like about myself, but without knowing and being able to practice and all of the things that I have learned throughout and continue learning, I don't think I would be alive. And so when COVID hit and I was able to finish out my 200-hour and fulfill also a 100-hour training for utilizing yoga for children with PTSD. It was important for me to learn that it doesn't matter how old a child is, but they will remember. One of my favorite books is Body Keeps the Score. And whenever I explain it to people, triggers doesn't have to happen in a sense where you're having a complete meltdown. Triggers can be detachments. You can simply start just blacking out and not hearing anything. Triggers can be something physically like ailing. So I've learned to listen to my body. I've learned to listen to what my body's telling me whenever I feel some sort of pull, some sort of uncomfortability. Why is that? Yoga to me isn't just sitting on the mat. I do a lot of walking and meditation with my dog and just having those moments. So I'm going to pedal back to the trigger that I had spoken about doing this research. And it was a house. It was a hut that one of the places I had seen, I kept going back to it. And it was the type of yoga studio that And I knew that there was something as to why I'm so drawn to it, why I wanted to find out. Something happened in a particular place like this that I want to undo, that I want to recover from, that I want to heal. And so sure enough, I did. And again, it was one of those buried memories and realization that I wasn't like a little girl anymore. I was trying to act older because I didn't know better. Caught between the abuse by my third sibling and the youngest of four, and my dad feeling like I'm not protected because he was having his own activities. I didn't know how to, I didn't know who I was supposed to be, girl, or so it was just that moment of realizing during this vacation how out of character, out of just not me, and just everything flooded back. And I needed to come to a place where I would continually teach yoga to remind me who I am now. The place that I didn't know before who I was. So what else? So I'm still, I don't think that I'll ever stop from healing. I don't think that I'll ever stop recovering. I think that the moment that happens, just like I don't think I ever want to stop learning yoga or continuing in this study of myself and of giving to others. And that's when I start to become as a recovery complacent. When people say you have this, I believe it, but I know that there's always, just like with the first time I shared the story, when I wrote it in Fierce Calm a couple of years ago, that was the first sort of opening to me sharing my story. And more that I talk about it, I don't know if I'll ever not complain. I don't know if I'll ever not get triggered. All it takes is a simple deep breath. And so we're just coming back into the reason why I've come to accept that it happened to me. I don't know whether I'm going to forget it. I don't know if I'm ever forgiven. I don't have answers. But just accepting that I'm not my past, so that this is me. So that's how yoga has helped me. And I also want to add that it not just with this trauma, but obviously with the many life changes that I've gone through, to stop hating myself and to stop believing in myself. So there's something so huge that I look forward to sharing more and helping. I do want the little ones to have voice before they get older and before they have maybe the ability to decide that they don't want to live anymore. With that, I'm going to end. Thank you. I know it's a little less than what I expected, so more definitely on the Q&A. And I'd love to be more vulnerable. And this is why I'm here. This is why I decided to do this. I felt that sharing my story is important, and how it and I will give a shout to start the insight timer.
Tricia, I felt all the pain that you went through. And the insight that I felt is God has been walking you through a journey. And for him to do that, he has to mold you on his potter's will. And as he molds you, he has to strengthen you. And the ultimate strength that you can get is when you get put into the kiln under extreme heat. And through that firing, you achieve being the lighthouse that you need to be in order to live your higher purpose. And that's what you've achieved today. What I want to do is I'm going to share a mantra for you. I'd like to gift you with a mantra if you want to write it down. It's a Sanskrit mantra that my father once shared with me, amongst many others. And it goes like this: Om Rim Shrim Chamunde Vichai Namaha. It means, allow my soul spirit and all cellular being within me to be in resonance and in peace with everything that the universe and the divine provides, so that my heart, my mind, and my soul and my spirit can live in harmony and be at peace. Om Rim Shrim Chamunde Vichai Namaha. It may help you to recite that every time you feel what you feel. And I'm just so grateful to be in your space in this moment in time for your vulnerability, because it's through your vulnerability that we all learn. I learned from you. Thank you for being my teacher today and allowing my tears to flow and to free some of my own pain.